In this video, I'm going to talk about how to seduce your interviewer for the purpose of passing a job interview. Maybe first let me explain to you where I come from. If you told me that seducing your interviewer was a thing like around 10 years ago when I used to do only skills-based hiring, hiring hundreds of freelancers in various small jobs, I would have said, no, it's impossible. I mean, it's actually the reverse. So if you try to impress me, I won't hire you. It's as simple as that. However, having more experience with these things and maybe working in environments with better budgets for hiring people and for the overall business, I've come to the conclusion that actually seducing your interviewers actually could be a healthy approach to pass job interviews, because after all, why would you seduce your interviewer? Well, you want to bias them towards you so they favor you when compared to other candidates. And second is, if you manage to seduce someone, if you manage to convince them that, hey, yes, I'm the best, they are less likely to challenge you all that much, right? Or even if they will challenge you, they will regard you from a slightly different perspective. Yeah, that guy is really good, so let's see, how can we ensure that he's actually good at what he does, right? So the perspective changes in this context. And I'm going to give you 3 pointers here for you to consider to seduce your interviewer. And the first thing, and the most efficient in my experience, is through your answers, right? And what do I mean by this? For example, instead of focusing on structuring your answers in the STAR format, which is a template after all, you should literally go above and beyond to dramatize them, to add some interesting aspects to that. Could be some interesting metric, could be a more challenging situation, dramatization and stuff like that. But there's plenty of ways you could go around this. It's actually impossible to give an algorithm on how can you make your answers more interesting, because templating and algorithms goes against that interesting stuff. But I found that if you spend time to make your answers interesting and exciting, this is the most efficient way to seduce someone for the purpose of a job interview. The second thing I like to talk about here, and this one might sound super interesting to some of you, would be your attitude and your overall branding. So basically positivity, smiling, even trying to make eye contact with your interviewer at times. I know many of you hate making eye contact during even a video conversation, right? Or being borderline cheesy, right, for the purpose of a job interview. These are all strategies which work. And if you think that cheesy will never fly in any job interview with any company, well, why don't you read HubSpot's culture code? And they are being upfront that they like cheesy people, yeah, right? So, and HubSpot, by the way, is a business worth tens of billions of dollars, and they work in marketing, sales, and customer support, right? And even for the most technical roles these days, you are required to know a little bit of marketing and sales and customer support. AWS would be the simplest possible example, right? So your attitude and your branding, your positivity is an element which can make a difference in a job interview. And the third thing I like to talk about here would be leading the conversation, right? So as a strategy to seduce, to make an impact during a job interview. And what do I mean by leading the conversation? Well, basically, think of it as someone leading the conversation as someone who he or she is an education to watch or to listen to during a job interview. Or if you want a little bit of bluffing here, you could speak as if you were already in the role, right? Especially if you have some interview nerves here, right? So leading the conversation has a certain wow factor involved into this, and does actually seduce to at this certain extent your interviewers. Now, of course, there are risks with doing these things. I believe in each of the points I mentioned, there are risks involved, which I believe should be obvious to understand. But overall, in my opinion, this approach of seducing your interviewer is something not to be taken too lightly in many job interviews, and especially in high-paying jobs with high-performing companies these days. So hopefully you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.